What is going on, everybody? It is Alex coming back at you with another video, and today we're going to be doing a post-free agency NFL mock draft. Now, this is going to be one round, no trades, a little bit of caveat at that pick number 3 spot, but if you guys are new, I would love for you guys to stick around, like, comment, subscribe. You guys know how to use YouTube. We're on the way to 7,500. Would love for that to be achieved ASAP, so only you guys can make it work that way. Of course, leave comments down below. I want to make better content for you guys anyway. Just don't be a full-on dick about it, and then everything will be a-okay. I love constructive criticism as long as it's actually usable. So please, for our sake, I like to make better content for you, and your guys' advice helps me get to where that nice marriage between quality and where it actually ends up meeting. So let's get into this. The top 2 picks are going to be quarterbacks. You can choose whichever route that you want to go, but I'm going to offer a little bit more realism here by saying CJ Stroud being above 6'2" is going to be more to the liking of Frank Reich. Bryce Young, or whatever leftover QB is there, is going to be the selection for the Texans. I don't really think I need to waste all of our time by going over the top 2 picks. Pick number 3, this is the one instance where I am going to negotiate a trade, and it's going to be with the Colts. I saw this on Mel Kiper's mock draft, and he said it's a very similar package to what the Bears gave up with the Niners for Mitchell Trubisky. So we are going to force this trade on through. And it's a way that the Arizona Cardinals can still select an elite level player while also gaining some extra draft capital. I think that the Colts are in a really good striking position. Do they need to move up? No, but if there is a team that's dying for Anthony Richardson, I would not be too surprised to see them I would be willing to pay a couple picks, and not very early picks either, to end up selecting the guy that I want. And for me, I think Steichen will work with Anthony Richardson. I think he'll have almost as much success as will Levis, but the ceiling, the future value is much higher on AR. There could be an issue when it comes to day one impact. We all know Ballard doesn't actually give a shit, to be completely blunt, about actually doing the right thing. He just kind of wants to plug and play, but especially at quarterback position, it kind of sucks Andrew Luck isn't there. And if you guys can't tell, I'm not a huge Ballard fan myself, but I'm going to do what's right for you guys. Anthony Richardson, and to me, is the second best QB in the class. It's kind of a tied 2, depending on which route you want to go, which coach you have. I think AR will work very well there. Leaving Will Anderson here for the Cardinals. Gotta love how PFF just jumps me down every single time. We'll leave it like that, though. At pick number 5 for the Seahawks, it's a tough spot, man. It really is. You got Jalen Carter here. I don't think that I just really can't see him going after a guy who has personality concerns. And they've done it in the past, and it's been actually something I've said before. I said, well, this team's been able to work with tough personalities, but I feel like they're trying to create like more of a similar to the Lions, kind of that blue chip mentality. So if you are not going to be going that route, you definitely can go Tyree Wilson. I know a lot of you guys say it's Will Anderson or nothing, but Tyree has the athleticism to play on the outside. He's a 2-gap player, so you can use him in terms of being able to hold off an entire edge of a defense. I think he's more versatile than Will Anderson, and he has the length at 35.5-inch arms, 275 frame. I mean, I don't really see much of a negative except the fact he's purposefully not done a lot of stuff in the offseason. A bit concerning, but you look at the tape, and this guy's able to track down guys left, right, and center. He has some. I mean, to be fair, he broke his foot to end the year. It's kind of a pain in the ass to play through stuff like that. So I'll give him a pass on that for sure. But yeah, he played incredibly well. 50 pressures on the year for a guy who is raw as a pass rusher. And I'm not going to air quote it that much because he is raw as a pass rusher. But if you're able to put up production still, that shows that you have some very good innate talent. And for me, I think that's a very solid move. You can kick him to the inside. I don't think you need to. It's just, I'm playing realism card here. In a fantasy mock draft, I would go Jalen Carter, probably right here to the Cardinals. But I'm not playing fantasy. I'm playing realism here. And realistically, the best ability is availability. And if somebody can't even be on he can't be on the field the entire time for his drills, I kind of doubt that he's going to be on the field the whole time for a game. And I don't really care about five reps of Jalen Carter a game. I would just much rather end up having a 25, 30 60 reps of Tyree Wilson. I think it's a better return on your investment. The Lions here, this is a tough, sticky spot. And again, I said I was going to make a one-time trade. One time. And technically, it didn't do jack shit for the mock draft. So I just did because I think that the Cardinals would move out of this spot. Jalen Carter, again, is another dream selection for you guys. But I went on Chat Sports, so I know their Lions division. Micro Mike, definitely know you're in the chat, so shout out to him. But I definitely have heard, especially from him and his sources, that even at 18, Jalen Carter would not be selected. Therefore, it's a tough selection at this spot without Tyree Wilson. You could end up going after a guy like Will to develop. I don't like that personally. I would not be sad about developing a defensive back. You did sign Emmanuel Mosley. You also signed Cam Sutton. But I think Emmanuel Mosley is on a 1-year deal. And I would love to have Christian Gonzalez develop for a year. I don't have him as high as my other corners, but I think in this system, if you give him time, he can develop very, very well. His numbers prove that he's an extremely explosive athlete. Definitely something that I would love to have in the building. Pick number 7, I think Jalen Carter or Will Levis would be the selection here. And I'm going to go with Jalen Carter. We saw that Bill Belichick ended up taking the Bama defensive interior that's slipping my mind right now a couple of years ago. And one of his biggest issues was his coachability, and that's coming from a direct source in the NFL. So there were coachability problems. I think Jalen Carter could be in that realm as well. I would also look at defensive back for them. Defensive back is pretty damn crucial, but you do have someone like Max Crosby where in the past he did have issues in terms of, drug abuse and stuff like that. So you do have a really good role model that you're going to be in the locker room with every single day, taking practice reps next to every single day. And it's a spot like the Raiders, I could totally see Jalen either really falling and failing and just continuing his downward spiral in terms of his immaturity, or really being able to set it right. And I really am hoping for the latter to happen there. I just think that the talent might just be too good to pass on. At pick number 8, I think Devon Witherspoon is the runaway favorite at this moment. And Huxtable used to work with the DC for Devon Witherspoon. I have to correct it. It's not his coach that's on the roster. I misquoted my buddy who brought it and talked about it on my Falcons 7-round mock draft, which you guys can check out. Pick number 9 for the Bears. I mean, if we're going to be honest here, Peter Skoronski is a very solid move, but I want someone who can play a real tackle spot. So if I'm looking at guys who can play a real tackle spot, I'm looking at Paris Johnson to be the likely first tackle taken. I know that the Bears didn't send too many dudes to the Ohio State Pro Day. That's a little bit intriguing to me because I don't really see many guys besides Darnell Wright and DeJuan Jones that have had experience on the right side. If Anton Harrison goes that high, that'd be a surprise. I have him higher than Paris Johnson, but I do know you can't teach 36-inch arms, and the show me more button is going to be the end of my life. But Paris Johnson is an excellent selection there. The Eagles, I kind of feel bad for y'all, but I think at this moment, going after an edge rusher would be the best return on your investment. It sucks, but Slay's going to be here for 2 years. Bradbury's going to be here for 2 to 3. It's probably not the right time to spend a top 10 pick on a defensive back. And the safety value is not good enough. I am going to go after Myles Murphy because I think getting the value of a long-term edge rusher is really, really solid. You see the price that you have to pay for a veteran or for a high-quality edge rusher. It's extremely expensive. So getting somebody at this rate, you are getting a very good return on your investment. The Titans, if Will Levis falls here, which again, it's a team I think are going to potentially trade up to 3, definitely worth selecting. The Texans, I think they will end up going after a defensive player here, but based on the guys available, I do not like Lucas Van Ness that much. I'd much rather wait to the next round and kind of just solidify what I need to solidify. You could go Quentin Johnston here. You can also go Jordan Addison. To me, this is a great spot to trade back and potentially pull, like the Eagles, get another first-round pick in the future from a team that is kind of wanting to move up, select a dude. If Will Levis is still on the board somehow, some way, then I would definitely trade out of here and get that future draft capital because then you can move back and then select Jordan Addison. But I think the best value here is Quentin Johnston. To me, he is the best wide receiver in the class. It's not really a competition in my eyes. His size and speed are incredible. After the catch, at his size, incredible. He needs to get a little bit more confident at the catch point, but he showed it in 2021. I think he can come back here in 2023. That's crazy. But at pick number 13, the Jets. A lot of people are saying this could be the pick sent for Aaron Rodgers. I don't think they will part with this pick, and I have a weird feeling that they're sending their second for him because that's why they probably moved up to get another second. So at pick number 13, the right selection is to go after someone like Broderick Jones, can also kick in to guard. You could also see other positions like, technically Pierce Skronsky is one of those hybrid guys, but there's other positions you can go. Lucas Van Ness, since there are rumors that an edge rusher is on the board for him, but I'm not really fully on board for that. Give Jermaine Johnson some time to cook, as well as Michael Clemens, who I loved. For the Patriots, I think Peter Skoronsky feels like the exact type of pick they would go after. Him or Darnell Wright. And I'm going to give a shot to Peter Skoronsky here. The Packers are on the board. I think that they could go after Brian Branch for sure, but you can't let Lucas Van Ness slip any further, and he's going to be making a big splash for them. This hurts me inside. I'm a Steelers fan. Joey Porter Jr. is available. You see him on my board, my number 2 player in the class. Absolutely incredible. I did put up a corners video. You guys can check that out if you want more of a description as to why I love Joey Porter so much, because I've been beating a dead horse with how many times I've said how much I love Joey Porter Jr. Pick number 17 for the Steelers. At this point, offensive line, probably offensive tackle and corner are my top priorities. And I think the Steelers are not going to go after an offensive lineman round 1 based on their free agent moves. I'm going to go Deonte Banks. I'm really starting to love the idea of Deonte Banks. Freakish athlete, great size, and besides an off coverage, he is an elite player. So really love what Deonte Banks could bring to the table. At pick number 18, to me, this is Bijan Robinson or potentially Jackson Smith and Jigba. I know you'd probably kick him. You'd kick Jackson Smith and Jigba to the outside. I think that could totally work. I'm looking for an X receiver for this team or an elite running back to pair up with David Montgomery. And I don't know why I said Montgomery that weirdly, but like Jackson Smith and Jigba could be an elite weapon for you. He has played on the boundary. He has had reps there. Not many, but some. And he's kind of never been the best receiver on his team, and a lot of people love to argue against that. But the simple truth is people focus a lot more on Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, Marvin Harrison Jr., and Emeka Ibuka than they ever did on Jackson Smith and Jigba. That's just my personal thing. You just kind of see it with your eyes. He's in a really damn good weapon, though, and deserves to be at least considered here in the first round. But at least for me on my board, I have him at 34, and that is perfectly fine. And I think this is a good spot for him to go. It is kind of weird to bring a dude who is, Ohio State into a Michigan-style locker room, but I'm actually going to opt for Bijan. I think that his talent level is just a little too good to pass on. Just somebody that could be a total game changer for you. The value of running back shot up. There are rumors of him going top 10, but I'm going to silence those rumors right now because I don't fully believe it, and I'm kind of just praying to God that it's not true. At pick number 19, there's a lot of rumors saying right tackle is the right move here. And I'm not going to disagree with it. If there is a vacancy at offensive line, I think Darnell Wright is an amazing guy to replace it, especially since you guys have time to develop him. He'd be a pretty damn solid mobile tackle for any quarterback that you bring into that locker room. Pick number 20. There's Jackson Smith and Jigba again. I already know I'm about to get crucified if I go after him. But let's look at some other options here. Brian Branch, if you guys did not bring on Julian Love, would be a fun option. Nolan Smith, if you want to just go edge and edge, that would be a great choice. But other positions, man, trying to think about other valuable positions. Guard and center are not valuable enough at this pick. Jack Smith and Jigba is the right option. I'm just saying, it really is. I don't see, Kalijah could be fun, but you guys spent a lot of money in free agency on defensive interior. You got rid of Al Woods, but Kalijah Kancey ain't no Al Woods. He's not going to be that type of size. He's not going to plug the middle. And linebacker, it's a bit of a reach. We could try to feature one in here, because of the fact that, you're kind of bound to have one linebacker go in the first round. And if there is one, it's going to be Jack Campbell or Trenton Simpson. So we could see one sneak into here. It's a very thin linebacker class. You have a top 3 linebacker set, and after that, it's kind of booty cheeks. No disrespect to Diane Henley, but he's heavily overrated, and there's a huge drop off after. That could mean a lot. And Jack Campbell is 6'5". You are kind of trying to get, your Bobby Wagner back, and I think Jack Campbell could be it. So I'm gonna do a risky pick there. We're gonna take it early. I know I just want to change it up a little bit for you guys because it can get a little repetitive sometimes. Pick number 21. I think Jackson Smith and Jigba is a great choice here to be an understudy. You could go Zay Flowers, but I think the value of somebody who could be that bigger X-style wide receiver who also can play slot has a little bit more versatility and a little bit more upside in terms of your potential return. Brian Branch, another great option for you, but there are guys in round number 2 like Jamie Robinson that I would recommend. Pick number 22. This one, let's see what corners are on the board. I'm tripping because we could see one slip in here. I know that Keely Ringo's still on the board too. I don't think he goes this high. You could see Kalijah Cansey being added to this roster. This is just a team that's arguably too good. And that's just me as a Steelers fan being absolutely pissed off. But I do think that this team kind of is a little too good for itself. I'm going to say that they're going to reach on a cornerback here. Cam Smith, he ended up lighting up the combine, which is great compared to what people expected. And I do think he could slip here into the first. There's a wide range where he can go. It just really depends on what people think of him. I'm not as high on Cam Smith as many people, but at the same time, it's not my opinion that makes the draft selection. So in this case, it does, but I'm trying to blend realism in here. At pick number 23, wide receiver would be a great choice. Zay Flowers or Jordan Addison. Zay Flowers, you can't go wrong. You really can't. I'm going to go Zay Flowers here, even though both are absolutely incredible. The Jaguars, I want to get a boundary DB, but I'm going to get Brian Branch. I don't think the value is it's too good to pass on. Too good to pass on. The boundary DBs, there will be one there in the second round as well. The Giants, you could also go after another weapon. And Dalton Kincaid's a great choice here. I know that you guys have a really solid tight end as well, but never puts you out of range for one. Jordan Addison might just be a BPA, and you're potentially taking him away from another contender up in here. I think the Bills wouldn't be a bad option for Jordan Addison. So it's just a way, if you want to compete, of disarming your other franchises that are right behind you. The Dallas Cowboys, I think boundary DB for development could be solid, but at this point, I highly doubt that the value besides Keely Ringo would be necessarily great. You could get Brian Breezy up in this house and just develop him for a little while. I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility. I also know that tight end is a very valuable option on this team. And, Dalton Schultz is gone. I think Dalton Kincaid could be an elite weapon for you. And it's just a way to kind of put all the chips in this year. You have Brandon Cooks, you'll have Dalton Kincaid, you'll have CeeDee Lamb, you'll have Michael Gallup. That is going to be a super squad. And I think that it's a unique and interesting option, but something that you could certainly throw into the mix. At pick number 27, I'm going an offensive tackle here all day. And I'd rather go after the guy who's much more pro-ready in Anton Harrison, even though I absolutely adore me some DeJuan Jones. Here's the issue. DeJuan Jones, he could come in here and just kick Lyle Collins the hell out. And I think I'm going to do that anyway. But, it's a toughie. It's a tough call. Both these options are great. I think that tackle, if it's on the board, is going to be a necessity for both teams. So it is what it is. Brian Breezy, it's just a quick, easy selection there for the Saints. You need defensive interior, and his upside is ridiculous. The Eagles, we drafted Myles Murphy earlier. Now, Kalijah just feels, it does feel like a Howie pick. You could see a running back sneak in here. I'm not going to do that. I don't think it's worth it. I don't think the wide receivers are worth it. I don't think the offensive linemen are worth it. If DeJuan Jones is here, I'm probably going to snag him. So I am going to go Kalijah Cansey. Get that defensive interior that, you could not get in Jalen Carter. And at pick number 31, the Chiefs. I don't know why it has a round 2 in there. I do apologize. It's catfishing you. But we are ending it here on pick number 31. And, oh, man, Nolan Smith fell. You got to be kidding me. I love Nolan Smith. You guys see he's number 12 on my big board. That just guts me, man. Fuck it. We're taking Nolan Smith. I think that it's acceptable to let Nolan Smith be selected here. So that's going to be the video. Stay tuned tomorrow for the trades mock draft. It's going to be 2 rounds. See you guys on the far side. Peace.